I see, 2kg. Hi. This is a very basic version of the Three Bears, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Might be a little young for third and fourth grade, but stick with me. We're going to read another version and we're going to compare and contrast. The Three Bears by Byron Barton, excuse me. Once upon a time, there were three bears. There was Papa Bear and a Mama Bear and a Baby Bear. One day, Mama Bear made some hot porridge. She made a big bowl for Papa Bear, a medium-sized bowl for Mama Bear, and a small bowl for Baby Bear. The porridge was very hot, so the three bears went for a walk until it got cool. Just then, along came a little girl named Goldilocks. There's Goldilocks. Goldilocks looked inside the house, and she saw the three bowls of porridge. Goldilocks was hungry, so she tasted Papa Bear's porridge, but it was too hot. Then she tried Mama Bear's porridge, but it was too cold. Then she tried Baby Bear's porridge. It was just right. So she ate and ate until she ate it all. Then Goldilocks wanted to sit down. First she sat in Papa Bear's rocker, but it rocked too fast. Then she sat in Mama Bear's rocker. It rocked too slow. Then she sat in Baby Bear's rocker. It rocked just right. So Goldilocks rocked and rocked. She rocked so much the little rocker broke. Then Goldilocks wanted to lie down. First she tried Papa Bear's bed. It was too hard. Then she tried Mama Bear's bed. It was too soft. Then she tried Baby Bear's bed. It was just right. So Goldilocks fell asleep in Baby Bear's bed. Well, she needed a nap after eating all that porridge. A little while later, the three bears came home. The bears looked at their porridge, and Papa Bear said, "Someone has been eating my porridge." Mama Bear said, "Someone has been eating my porridge." And Baby Bear said, "Someone has been eating my porridge too, and now it's all gone." Then the bears looked at their chairs. Papa Bear said, "Someone has been sitting in my chair." Mama Bear said, "Someone has been sitting in my chair." And Baby Bear, "Someone has been sitting in my chair too, and now it is broken in pieces." Their pants matched their chairs. Did their bowls match their chairs too? They did. Or match their outfits. And look, their beds, I think, matched too. Then the bears looked at their beds, and Papa Bear said, "Someone has been sleeping in my bed." And Mama Bear said, "Someone's been sleeping in my bed." And Baby Bear cried out, "Someone's been sleeping in my bed too. Look, there she is now." When Goldilocks saw the three bears, she jumped out of Baby Bear's bed and ran. And she ran and ran as fast as she could away from the three bears' house. And the three bears never saw little Goldilocks again. Cute story, maybe for a younger crowd, but that's a basic Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right? Now we're going to read James Marshall's, and then we'll compare and contrast. Goldilocks and the Three Bears, retold and illustrated by James Marshall. Making sure I had started my timer. Once there was a little girl called Goldilocks. "What a sweet child," said someone new in town. "That's what you think," said the neighbor. "Maybe Goldilocks isn't so sweet. I think maybe that's the new guy in town, and that's the lady who maybe knows Goldilocks." One morning, Goldilocks' mother sent her to buy muffins in the next village. "You must promise not to take the shortcut through the forest," she said. "I've heard that bears live there." "I promise," said Goldilocks, but to tell the truth, Goldilocks was one of those naughty little girls who do exactly as they please. And there's the shortcut through the forest. "Danger, very risky, not a good idea. Turn back, go the other way. Look how dark it is, Goldilocks." Meanwhile, in a clearing deeper inside the forest, in a charming house all their own, a family of brown bears was sitting down to breakfast. What a cute little house. "Patchooey!" cried big old Papa Bear. "This porridge is scalding. I've burned my tongue." "I'm dying!" cried Baby Bear. "Now, really," said Mama Bear, who was of medium size, "that's quite enough." "I know," said Papa Bear. "Why don't we go for a spin while the porridge is cooling?" "Excellent," said Mama Bear. So they got on their rusty old bicycle and off they went. Tra-la-la! Kind of like Captain Underpants. A few minutes later, Goldilocks arrived at the bear's house. She walked right in without even bothering to knock. On the dining room table were 3 inviting bowls of porridge. "I don't mind if I do," said Goldilocks, helping herself to the biggest bowl. Papa Bear is a big bear. He can eat a lot. But the porridge in the biggest bowl was much too hot. "Patooey!" cried Goldilocks, and she spat it out. Next, she tasted the porridge in the medium-sized bowl, but that porridge was much too cold. Then Goldilocks tasted the porridge in the little bowl, and it was just right, neither too hot nor too cold. In fact, she liked it so much that she gobbled it all up and made a mess. Feeling full and satisfied, Goldilocks thought it would be great fun to have a look around. Right away, she noticed a lot of coarse brown fur everywhere. "They must have kitties," she said. In the parlor, there were 3 chairs. "Don't mind if I do," she said, climbing into the biggest one. But the biggest chair was much too hard, and she just couldn't get comfortable. Well, she tried lots of different ways. She doesn't notice the photographs of bears on the wall. Next, she sat in the medium-sized chair, but that chair was much too soft, and she thought she might never get out of it. Then Goldilocks sat in the little chair, and that was just right. Neither too hard nor too soft. In fact, she liked it so much that she rocked and rocked until the chair fell completely to pieces. Now, all that rocking left Goldilocks quite tuckered out. "I could take a little snooze," she said, so she went to look for a comfy place to nap. Upstairs were 3 beds. "Don't mind if I do," said Goldilocks, and she got into the biggest one, but the head of the biggest bed was much too high. So look, it's laying really like sitting up kind of. Doesn't she notice those great big bunny slippers? She must not be very observant. Next, she tried the medium-sized bed. The head of that bed was much too low. Then Goldilocks tried the little bed, and it was just right. Soon she was all nice and cozy and sound asleep. She did not hear the bears come home. Does your room look like Baby Bear's room? The 3 bears were mighty hungry, but when they went in for breakfast, they could scarcely believe their eyes. "Somebody has been in my porridge," said Papa Bear. "Somebody has been in my porridge," said Mama Bear. "Somebody has been in my porridge," said Baby Bear, "and eaten it all up." And they're all going, bleh. In the parlor, the 3 bears were in for another surprise. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said Papa Bear. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said Mama Bear. "Somebody's been sitting in my chair," said Baby Bear, "and broken it to smithereens." That Goldilocks. The bears went upstairs on tiptoe, not knowing what they would discover. But everything seemed fine. But then Papa Bear lay down on his big brass bed. "Somebody's been lying in my bed," he cried, and he was not amused. He looked grumpy. "Egads!" cried Mama Bear. "Somebody's been lying in my bed." "Look!" cried Baby Bear. "Somebody's been lying in my bed, and she's still there." Look at that crazy rug with the pyramids. "Now see here," roared Papa Bear. Goldilocks woke up with a start, and her eyes nearly popped out of her head. But before the bears could demand a proper explanation, Goldilocks was out of bed, out the window, and on her way home. "Who was that little girl?" asked Baby Bear. "I have no idea," said Mama Bear, "but I hope we never see her again." And they never did. So, this book is sweet. It's the basic Goldilocks story. But this one had a lot more excitement going on, I think. I would say to compare, to find ways that the books are similar, they had the same basic story. Mama Bear, Papa Bear, Baby Bear, porridge, chairs, beds, the things that they all tried out. Baby Bear's was always the one that was just right, correct? There was a little girl named Goldilocks, so lots of things that were comparable, things that are the same. But now let's find the ways that they're different. Let's contrast them. First of all, the pictures. I would say these pictures are very basic. We noticed that the bear clothing matched their bowls and their chairs and their beds. But the one by James Marshall is, I mean, you could read this as a child, as a little bitty kid, but it's definitely got more little witticisms to it. I mean, it's kind of funny right here where the neighbors are like, "Oh, what a sweet child," and the other neighbor's like, "Not so much." You get the feel right away that this Goldilocks she's something. She's kind of naughty. And they did all these funny little signs about Goldilocks, don't go there. And she goes into the forest, and they've got this cute little chicken sitting on top of the roof, and they go off on it. Oops, looks like they need to water some of their plants. And Goldilocks, yep, Papa Bear's big bowl of porridge. That's where they were similar, but the things that are different is I don't think the other Goldilocks made quite the mess there that Goldilocks did in the James Marshall version. We've got the funny little additions about they must have kitties. That's different. Goldilocks is not sitting in chairs in a conventional manner at all. She's trying out the chairs in a much different way. The bear's house is much more cluttered than the one in the simpler version. The beds are different. In this one, let's see. The James Marshall one, the head of the bed was too high for Papa's. Mama Bear's, it was, I don't know why anybody would sleep in a bed like that. That would be very uncomfortable. But in this one, it was just that the chairs, let's see, what did Goldilocks say about the chairs? We have to go back and read because I don't remember. So going back and rereading, finding text evidence. Papa Bear's bed was too hard. Mama Bear's bed was too soft. Baby Bear's bed was just right. And the chairs were a little bit different. It wasn't that they were like in the James Marshall version, the chairs were too hard, too soft. Remember Mama Bear's chair was way too soft. So they did the hard and the soft with the chairs in the James Marshall version. This one, it was how fast the chairs could rock. And then the beds were too hard or too soft. So the qualities of the furniture were a little bit different in the two stories. But, just like in the other one, she ate all the Baby Bear's porridge. She broke the chair in both stories. And then they found her in Baby Bear's bed in both stories. In this story, Goldilocks dived out the window and headed for home. Oh, one little cute thing. If you ever read James Marshall books, he's usually got a little map of Texas in there because he's from Texas. Like he wrote the Miss Nelson stories, and I remember seeing a map on the wall of Texas in that book. In this one, let's see, it looks like she ran out the front door. So Goldilocks wasn't quite as adventurous in this one. She just ran out the front door to get home. So there are our comparisons and our contrasts between two versions of the Goldilocks story. Compare and contrast is a great skill. Find things that are the same for comparing. Find things that are different for contrasting. Thanks.